Bienvenidos an ARBOR y welcome to You Say Maize, I Say Blue. I have no idea if that made sense.
So you actually said...
Did that come out right?
You said welcome and then welcome again.
Well, hey, that's fine. We're a very welcoming group. Danny Sass on your right, Wolf Sports Director, Chris Cichon on your left. This is one of our last couple of shows, Danny. We are seniors. We'll be gone in a couple weeks. So it's going to be sad, but we have a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. You know how we start. We've been doing it this 3 years. Danny, you can go ahead and say Maize. I'm going to say blue. As in the Mets blew the NL East race again. Oh, wait, did I say that early this year? I guess I'm predicting what's going to happen in September.
It's still March.
Rough blow to the Mets crowd right
that
here.
Hurts. You can go ahead and say blue. I'm going to say Maize, as in I am amazed you're not giving my Metropolitans a chance this year. Brent's bullpen.
It happened the last 2 years. Why not now?
Pitching staff. It's the
new manager you think does it, huh?
Get the job done.
We'll
Come on, the Mets.
We'll talk a little baseball later. It is
a
basketball season,
It's
though.
basketball season. It's March.
Madness.
It's almost April. Happy last day of March to everyone out there in the audience. What's going on?
April by now.
No, still March.
Okay, whatever.
It's
But anyway.
March 31st.
Danny, we are into the Final Four. 4 teams in Detroit coming in this week. First of all, let's talk about this. I mean, the first weekend, you know, the guys that are hosting this show, they weren't too impressed with the games. I know you weren't very impressed. After the second weekend, are you still calling this a lousy tournament?
No, I mean, the game's definitely improved a little bit. But
A little bit?
Yeah, you know,
I think it improved a lot, like this.
Okay, I mean, you had a lot of blowouts, though. I mean, Louisville over Arizona, Syracuse couldn't...
Let's talk about Saturday and Sunday. I like Saturday and Sunday because those games were so good. Those all could be on ESPN Classic minus the Carolina game on Sunday night, I think. So I think the Saturday and Sunday made up for it, especially Pitt-Villanova, classic for the ages.
Pitt-Villanova was the only real good game, though. I mean...
You didn't like Michigan State against Louisville?
In the second half, Louisville couldn't score. It turned into, I mean, every single possession seemed like Louisville would come down. They'd get
But coming
fouled,
from the Big Ten schools that we come
2.
from, Danny, it was kind of nice to see a Big Ten team rough up Louisville, the #1 overall seed, who's been hyped up all March, it seems.
Okay.
And there they go down. So I like that. And then UConn. UConn's a big story too.
That was a good game.
They got the scandal going around them, and then guys.
That UNC Oklahoma game was out of hand early. The only real good game, the nail biter, the one that took us down to the wire, was Pitt and Nova.
Yeah.
And last second buzzer beater, Scotty Reynolds got the job done. Nova's in the final
Play for the
four.
ages, wouldn't you say? Or how many times are we going to see that? How many
It's
times?
one of those plays that we will remember as the shining play from this year's March Madness tournament.
Yeah.
And the last few tournaments have kind of been void of a play like that. So it's nice to have that buzzer beater. But all things considered, it's still not that exciting a slate of games.
Really?
Come on.
I mean,
but
what can you expect? And you can't expect every single year to just be blown away, George Mason and here comes Davidson. You can't have that every year. It's not going to happen.
I'll talk about that a little later in my show, Chris. I think part of the problem is the fact that some of these higher teams are playing relative home games, and that's something I'll talk about a little bit later in the show. We'll save it for the DJ on the mic segment. But when you have schools like UNC protected and schools like Duke protected in the first and second round, you're not going to see those upsets. You're not going to see the buzzer beaters. You're not going to see the Cinderellas. And that's kind of contributing to the lack of drama in March Madness. And I think it carries over into the next round as well.
Either that or those white kids from the small schools just really suck.
One of the other.
Like we mentioned earlier, the Final Four in Detroit. Big event happened in Detroit. Remember when the Super Bowl came a couple years? It was huge. This week's going to be no less than that. Michigan State, Carolina, Villanova, the surprise, and of course UConn all headed here. Danny, what I like about this, all 4 teams have a pretty big story coming in. Michigan State, they're the locals. UConn's got the scandal. Carolina's got Tyler Hansbrough. Is he going to become one of the greatest college players of all time? He has to win the title to do that. And then Villanova, Scotty Reynolds, we just said. So pick your poison there. I mean, great stories coming to Motown. Should be a fantastic week.
The thing that I'm most looking forward to is seeing that crowd at Ford Field getting fired up. We had the Super Bowl come into Detroit and really kind of revamp downtown.
Hopefully there can be
Detroit
more fans there than usually for a Lions game.
I think that's a given.
Maybe they'll get 20,000 in this time.
I still think they might be making a mistake at Ford Field by not curtaining off part of the stadium and moving that stadium. The way they have the court placed in the middle of the field. I went last year for the regional games, the Midwest Regional, the Sweet 16, and the Elite 8 games, and you couldn't see I was in the 27th row. That's good tickets at a Lions game. I couldn't see the hoop.
No tickets are good tickets at a Lions game,
Hey,
Danny.
they won a few games last year.
Come on now, don't rub it in.
And oh, that's right, they didn't.
Hey.
But I had to watch games on the Jumbotron, and it's upsetting that, you go all the way to a venue like that and the players just look like ants out there.
Well, I mean.
But that being said, it's going to be great for Detroit. It's going to be damn good basketball. I mean, you have a Final Four. Like you said, each team has a story. Each team has a legitimate chance of winning. And, great matchups, Michigan State.
UConn, big matchup in the paint there. That's going to be just a brawl.
Teams. And then on the other side, you have the quick, good guard play of Villanova. And obviously, UNC's got the exact same thing. They're as well-rounded as any team in the nation. So
Exactly.
what should be two good games and in a good venue.
Back to the court, Carolina and Michigan State did play. Michigan State played that home game back in December at Ford Field, so I think if they needed to make any adjustments, I think that's what that game was for. They would have made them then. I think, though, it's not really for the fans there. It's more for the audiences watching to see what's going to be 80,000 people probably inside that
Are
stadium.
you going to give State any home court advantage for this?
I think they will have. I mean, Izzo's talking about how, the same amount of tickets per school. The thing is, the atmosphere surrounding the building in downtown Detroit, when the players are riding the bus to the game, they're just going to see a sea of white and green.
See, I think once you get to that game, each team is going to travel well enough. The UConn fans will be here, the Nova fans, the UNC fans are all going to come here.
They'll be here, but they're going to get beat up on the streets. There's too many of Michigan State fans.
I think once you put the ball on the court, it's a neutral site. And I think the best team will win.
That's true.
And I think the best team is UNC, and I don't think home court's going to manage. I
That's
don't
true.
think State gets past UConn for what it's worth. But we'll see.
Jeez, just giving us predictions and everything. Danny, we got to stop. It should be a great week. We'll leave it at that.
Chris, we're going to stay in the world of college basketball. The Kentucky Wildcats got rid of Coach Billy Gillispie after only 2 years. This guy was supposed to come in and be the savior of the program. He was not. Is John Calipari that guy?
The heck is Billy Gillispie?
Oh, come on. He came from Texas A&M.
Oh, A&M. I'm
He
sorry.
revived that program pretty much.
I didn't even hear about Billy Gillispie, actually.
He
Was he
revived that-
coaching Kentucky? Because I think Kentucky had two of their worst seasons in history
They
this past
absolutely
2 years.
did.
So
So
obviously,
can
he
John
was
Cal-
not the savior.
Can John Calipari revive that?
John
revive that
Calipari
team?
can definitely revive it. He can revive a program in Memphis. Memphis, a nothing. He brought up to national prominence. Give it, they're playing in the Sun Belt. But come on, if he goes to Kentucky, he's still in the same region. He can still recruit the same guys. He's a heck of a recruiter. And he's going to bring the conference up. It's just, do they win? And does he keep the program clean? It's those kind of questions. Right now, it's the question, does he go or not? And I think, come on, John Calipari, go to Kentucky. You're at Memphis.
Here's the thing. I have one problem with this. I think he's going to stay at Memphis. Because I
Really?
think he has unfinished business. And, you hear about him being a great coach. Wins 30 games, great defense, great players. He hasn't won that title yet. And
Will he?
I think he will.
Really?
Yes, I think he continues to bring in top-notch talent. I think he's a good coach. He's got a conference in which he's going to win every game. You called it the Sun Belt. He's in Conference USA. It doesn't matter. It's one of those mid-level conferences.
Yeah.
So he can go 16-0 in the conference year after year. He continues to schedule big-time opponents. He continues to bring in top-notch talent. Tyreek Evans was a guy from the Philadelphia area who was almost destined to go to Villanova, UConn, one of those Big East schools. And he snagged him, and boom, he has a top-notch point guard. That kid's only a freshman. So if he can get these kids to stick around, if he can keep bringing in top-notch talent, Memphis is bound to not only win a title, but continue to become a dynasty. And I think Calipari's not going to leave that school until
I don't
gets
think
the
he
job.
has. He may have unfinished business, but is that unfinished business way heavier in his mind than the name Kentucky?
Yeah, I think it does.
Kentucky. You're talking about arguably the top program in college basketball history.
But it's dropping
Kentucky.
right now.
Who's the guy to save that? Of course,
I
Calipari comes
don't
in,
think it's
and they could
Calipari.
become. Calipari's going to be there next week. You watch it, Danny. We're going to go making bold predictions. You got UConn. I got Calipari at Kentucky.